Hello everybody and welcome back to Nerdy Miniatures. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to create a rusty battle damage look fit for any of your 40k figures. I will show you a couple different techniques, so if you want to see how I achieve this, then just keep on watching. So to begin, I need to pick my figures. I just so happen to have 7 figures that I've recently detailed on stream. My Angels of Death, aka the Space Marines or the Ultramarines from the Kill Team starter set. They look good, but I'm certain I can make them look better, or at least grittier. The effects I'll be adding are bullet/battle damage, rust and dried blood to really make this piece look like they have been fighting for a while. So starting with the paint lead belcher, I painted all 7 figures using small strokes to indicate grazes on their power armour, from bullets narrowly missing the Angels of Death. I did this using a very small brush and a very light hand, barely pressing the brush to the surface of the figure and dragging backwards to create jagged, uneven lines, like a bullet would make had it grazed the armour. Now they look a little bit damaged, it's time to go on to the next technique, which is to add scraping. For this, I used a sponge. I tore off small pieces and then using tweezers, I dipped the sponge into that same lead belcher paint and messily applied it to the figure, randomly placing it to make it look more natural. Because after all, had these guys been in a few battles, their lovely blue suits are not going to be very blue anymore. They're going to have some of that metal underneath showing through. Another way to achieve this effect is to use a brush. Specifically, I use a dry brush for this. I drag this across edges and also use a stippling technique just to simply apply the paint in certain areas to make it look like the paint had been rubbed off with wear and tear. Now moving on to the rust effect. For this I used Mournfang brown, a reddish brown, and mixed it with water to dilute it. Then, using the same sponge effect, I dusted it across the figure. The next technique was again using a brush, but it's a little bit more accurate, as what I decided to do for this was place the product into areas where rust and dirt might naturally gather in the recesses, and where the paint was overflowing, I simply used kitchen towel to blot it off. With the brush, it required me building up in layers, so of the two techniques, I prefer the sponge technique. Next, it was time to tarnish the weapons. As these guns had seen battle, I'd already had scrapes to them, but it was time to make the silver look a little bit less shiny. So using technical paint Nihalicate Oxide, I brushed this over the metallic parts of the weapon to show wear and tear and to tarnish its appearance. Now moving on to the final product. To add oil or a dried blood appearance for this, I use Gore Grunter Fur. I applied this randomly over the entire figure using a brush at first, dripping it down the figure, adding it to recesses, holes, bolts, and anywhere where the joints are, just to kind of show potentially an oil effect, where their power armour is in need of a good service. And as for more of a dried blood effect, I went in with a sponge, randomly placing it over the figure to make it look a little bit more blood splattery. And that is it. That is the figures all battle torn after going to war with the Plague Marines from the Kill Team starter set. If you want to see how I do any other techniques, if you want to see blood splatter in more detail, obviously with more reds, or paint damage, let me know and I'm happy to do so. Down in the description you'll find 2 links. The first to Mr. Nerd's channel, so if you enjoy MMOs and action RPGs, then please feel free to have a look at that. If you enjoy lore, then might I recommend having a look at my channel, where I cover fantasy lore from Tolkien to Warhammer and other fantasy topics. So if that's more your cup of tea, then please feel free to have a look at that also. Anyway, that'll be it from me today. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are in the world. And as always, peace out, guys.